What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from Wax Museum, coming to you today with the 12th installment of my NBA 75th Anniversary Team Collection. And I want to say thank you to those of you that have followed so far. It's been an interesting and a fun project for me, and it's also kind of opened my eyes in some cases to players that, I really don't have anything for that, or I need to pick up some more stuff for. And today is a great example of that. As you see, compared to some other weeks, this whole table's full here. I don't have a lot of stuff here, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump in, and maybe it'll be a shorter video this week, who knows. But we're going to start off with Hakeem Olajuwon here. And you know what? If you were to sit here and create a power ranking of players from the 90s, there's a good chance that, of course, you'd have MJ number 1, but you would most likely have Hakeem Olajuwon number 2. And I suppose that makes collecting him a bargain. Although I have not been taking advantage of that, as you can see. But Hakeem's resume speaks for itself. He's a 12-time All-Star, a 2-time Finals MVP, and he got rings both of those times. He's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he's led the league in blocks 3 different times. On top of that, he's mentored players like Kobe, and he's always been an amazing ambassador for the game. And I wish my collection reflected all of that. I don't really have much of anything for him. I had a rookie, but I traded it towards a Fred Jones 101 patch. And I don't regret that at all. I can get a rookie again, but I just haven't done so yet. So here, this is it. This is all I could come up with. And not, don't get me wrong, this is a nice card, but compared to some guys that I've just been kind of stockpiling, this is all I have for Hakeem. This is a booklet out of, I believe, 2013 Preferred. It's got David Robinson on one side and Hakeem on the other side. Yep, there it is, 2013 Panini Preferred. All right, so after Hakeem Olajuwon, we got another good big man. This was a 4-time champion and Celtics legend, Robert Parish, who averaged an impressive 14 and 9 over the course of his 21-year career. So a lot of time in the league. And of course, he dropped off a little at the end, but I think that kind of longevity is impressive nonetheless. Now, he spent his first 4 years in Golden State, which I should probably put this one on top here, even though it's not the actual rookie. But he was an excellent fit in Boston with, Bird and McHale. He was physical when the game called for it. He had an arsenal of post moves. He was agile. He ran the floor really well. And he had a great mid-range jumper for a 7-footer. So, what else could you ask for from a big man? Earlier, I alluded to the fact that Hakeem is a bargain when it comes to collecting. Well, there's a lot of Robert Parish cards out there too, and they're pretty affordable as well. So, actually, I had a Robert Parish rookie. I don't have one now. I moved it in the same deal that I moved that Hakeem rookie in, because the guy was looking for Hall of Fame rookies. So I do have this refractor reprint, though, from 1996, and it's too bad they didn't have a chromium set that year, because this is much better looking card than just the plain Topps base, in my opinion. And this is a good looking copy too, even though the centering is not perfect on it. But so that's what I have to represent his Golden State years. And then moving into the Boston stuff here, I've got an 86 Fleer card that a friend got signed at a free appearance at a Charlotte Bobcats game. I had Bobcats season tickets, but I couldn't go that night, so my friend got it signed. Robert Parish has been awesome to the autograph community. He signs like a machine in the mail. I've seen people get 4 cards signed, 5 cards signed, and it's always really, really neat. And if it's a dark card, he's got a silver pin. So kudos to Robert Parish for just always being so kind to collectors, especially through the mail. So I had that card. That's, I really like that one. And then I have, I showed an Absolute patch of Steve Nash in my last video, talked about how good Absolute used to be. Here's another example. Here's an Absolute patch of Robert Parish, and this one is numbered 8 out of 25. Don't see a lot of jumbos anymore, and you definitely don't see them numbered to 25. Things are changing. All right, so that's my Robert Parish stuff. After Robert Parish, then, we're going to move on to, and I almost got lost in the shuffle here, Chris Paul. That's someone that people have recently dubbed the point god. And no disrespect to Chris Paul. I'm not sure if I'm ready to deify him at this point, but either way, he's definitely cemented himself as one of the top point guards of all time. And, watching him carry this Phoenix squad, and even when Devin Booker was hurt in the playoffs. It's been a bit of a treat. Sometimes it's hard. There's games where he looks like a 37-year-old. Then there's games where he's just absolutely amazing. And, we're probably not going to get a lot more of that here in the future. So I definitely don't want to take that for granted. But throughout the course of his career, he's done a little bit of everything. He's a 12-time All-Star, 6-time steals champ, 4-time assist leader. He's 4th all-time in steals and 3rd all-time in assists. And, there was a point when he went to Oklahoma City where it kind of looked like things were about to trail off. When I should say Oklahoma City the second time. It's not counting when he went there with the Hornets. But, he kind of resurrected his career. And people want to talk about how he hasn't won a ring yet, but he's gotten close several times. And there are a lot of people who will not get rings. So, I don't really want to hold that against him. Don't have a lot of CP3 stuff, though. I've got this regular base rookie here. I pulled his Chrome Gold rookie back in the day, but sold that and thought I made out like a bandit and bought a bunch of just Pacers junk with it. But anyway, so I had this Topps base card, and then I think I showed this card off with Elgin Baylor. I resisted showing it with Steve Nash, even though I wanted to show it there too. I could show it with Dwayne Wade because this has 7 players on it: Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Boris Diaw, Elgin Baylor. One of these things is not like the other. I'll let you pick which one. I'm not talking about Steve Nash. I'm talking about Boris Diaw here. I'm talking about the caliber player. Ben Wallace, Mike Miller, and Dwayne Wade. If only they could have moved Dwayne Wade here in this Boris Diaw spot. That would be a really, really awesome card. It's a cool card either way, though. It's numbered 33 out of 99. Uses that old Lakers blue for Baylor, too. That's all my Chris Paul stuff, though. I need to add some stuff. Eventually I will. Hopefully I will, at least. All right, next up is another really good defensive point guard in Gary Payton. This year Marcus Smart won this season's Defensive Player of the Year award. Well, here's a little piece of trivia that shocked me. Marcus is the first guard to win the award since Gary Payton won it in '96. Now, he wasn't too bad on the offensive end either. He averaged 19 points per game or higher for 11 straight seasons. And he was the leader of some really good Sonics teams in the 90s. Of course, they ran into Jordan like everyone else, but he eventually won a ring with the Heat in 2006, which you'll see something from that here in a moment. So let's just go ahead. I'll show you this iconic rookie here. I almost couldn't find this. I feel like I had so many of these, and yet I couldn't find it. This one's got a big scratch on the front of it. This is from a binder that I bought. But out of all of the Gary Payton rookies, that's by far my favorite. Another Sonics card here that I had laying around is this Topps Jumbo. I'll show it to you compared to a regular card. That top loader's too big for that. It's one of those just odd size cards. So there's 2 of my Gary Payton cards. But my favorite Gary Payton's card, because you guys know I'm a finals collector, and I showed off the Shaq from this set on the last video. Well, here is Gary Payton from that set. And that's when the Heat won the finals in 2006. That was out of Topps big game. All right. This might surprise you, but out of all the guys on the list today, the last one here, Bob Pettit, is by far my favorite. Coincidentally, he's also the only player on the list that I didn't grow up watching. And I say I grew up watching Robert Parish. I only saw the Hornets and the Bulls version, so it wasn't quite the same. But I can say I watched him. I suppose researching Bob Pettit's career and watching documentaries about him and such has made me feel that much more invested in him from a time perspective, at least. But he played 11 seasons in the league, and he averaged 26 and 16. He was a 2-time scoring champ and a 2-time MVP. And he won a ring with the St. Louis Hawks in 1958. And not only did he win a ring, he played a big role, too. He scored 50 in Game 6 against the Celtics. I think it's worth noting that only 7 players have dropped 50 in the finals, so he's got some pretty elite company. And similar to those other 6 guys, his greatness didn't just come naturally. When he first came into the league, he was used to playing center at LSU, and I've even heard Shaq talk about him before and try and give him his respect. And said, he might not have even been the best big man at LSU. He said it might have been Bob Pettit, which I thought was a really nice thing for Shaq to say. But Pettit didn't have the size to play center there at the NBA level, so he was quickly moved to power forward, and he was kind of able to retool his game and eventually became one of the best power forwards of all time. He realized if he could score off of offensive rebounds and free throws, that he'd be hugely successful. He was one of the first players to rely on weight training, and he even sought out a fitness guru to help him out. Over a 5-year stretch, he put on 30 pounds of muscle in a way that didn't hinder his game or slow him down. And I guess part of what's drawn me to Bob Pettit is the fact that nobody really talks about him. Seems like a hidden gem. And he's still alive, too. He's 89 years old. So it was sort of surreal seeing some of the backstage footage of him at the 75th celebration where he's introducing himself to Kawhi Leonard. And I don't expect Kawhi to know every NBA player. That's not a diss at Kawhi, but it's just, crazy to me that this is one of the best forwards ever. And probably a lot of people that he had to introduce himself to. But that's one of the things that I like so much about this series here and doing this is I can use my collection to spotlight these guys and talk about how much they've done for this game that we all love so much. So here are my Bob Pettit cards. I've got this 57 Topps rookie here that I bought at a show. Eventually, I think I'm going to send that to SGC. I'm trying to do a slabbed 57 set. It does have a slight, I want to say, and I definitely didn't pay that. I paid a tenth of that. I paid about $70 for this. I think there's a pinhole there, but otherwise, it's a card that presents really well. A lot better than this one, but when I got this in a lot, I'm like, I've got to keep that. And it took me a while to figure out what is going on here. What did presumably a kid, write on this? Well, BP, Bob Pettit, SLH, St. Louis Hawks. That took me a lot longer than it should have. I'm almost embarrassed over how long it took me to figure that out. And then I've got this 96 chrome refractor reprint. That's just really cool, and the effect they had on there with the lines, and kind of they added some texture. So they really went out of their way to not only do a reprint, but to up the game a little bit. Which, a lot of people probably hadn't noticed some of that stuff on there, but that I think is worth pointing out. And then I have this Bob Pettit Epic Signatures on-card autograph from Upper Deck. All right, so there you have it. Like I said, a little bit thinner on the cards this week, but I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, go ahead and like, comment. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Remember, there are new episodes of the audio podcast that come out every Thursday, and thanks for watching.